Hey guys, what's up? Shadowlands back for another commentary. Today I've got something pretty cool for you guys. I wanted to give you my opinions and my thoughts on the new 3 maps that we might be seeing added to Combat Arms in the coming month or so. I don't actually know when it's going to get released, obviously. I haven't followed that closely, but I do want to talk about the 3 maps. Possibility Desert Hull, the Space Station map, and the Glass Building map. Now, I have some pretty detailed thoughts on these, so I'm going to keep it pretty simple, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So, starting off with Desert Hull, because that was the very first one to get released. Overall, this map looked really cool, but I can see some problems with it immediately. This is going to be a head peak heaven, just looking at the way the hills are shaped, and looking at the way that the shoulders can peek around corners here with your character. There's going to be a lot of issues with peeking, and I really hope they handle it well, because I can see that there are going to be a lot of issues immediately with that, and with the tanks that are scattered around, I think there's going to be a lot more peeking issues, so if this does become a thing, I think peeking is going to be one of the biggest problems we'll ever see on this map, but overall the concept of the map is really cool. I like the idea of having a relatively flat map that is designed for snipers. I really think this is going to be pretty cool, but the thing I'm curious about is what the scale looks like. Is this a very small map? Is this designed to be like not much bigger than Junk Fleet 2-ish? Or are we looking at something Kill Creek sized? It's very difficult to tell from the images, but I think it's going to be very clever, and I think it's overall going to be a really good map. What I would rate it? I'd probably rate it about a 7 of 10. I'm taking off a couple of points for the whole glitching problem and a couple of the head peak problems that are inevitably going to become a thing. But I think the general idea of the map of throwing grenades really far distances and sniping long range, I think is really cool. And also, it looks like a really law and RPG unfriendly map, so it looks like it's not going to be that big of an issue. Because, you know, you can't shoot over one sand dune at once, which is going to be really cool. So it's good for anti-law and anti-RPG stuff, so it's going to be a heavily grenade-focused map. I think that's really cool. Going on, we have Glass Building. Now, this is one of the ones that I like the most, although I can see some problems with it as well. First of all, this map is basically Office from Counter-Strike. If you guys have played that game, Counter-Strike and Office, that just kind of, it looks like they kind of ripped it off, to be honest. But now, that being said, Office is an excellent map, so I'm glad that we have a possibility of getting something similar in Combat Arms. It looks like it's sort of a cross between like the Lunar Labs thing and Office from Counter-Strike. If those two had a baby, this would be it. Now, generally, I think this is a really cool idea, because Vertigo is one of my favorite maps, and having the idea of you being able to fall to your death is really cool, and I think the idea of having multi-layers inside a building is very ingenious. We haven't seen a lot of that since Red Canyon came out. Red Canyon has that building in the center where there's like multiple floors. Very cool, and I hope we get to see a lot more of that here. So overall, I rate the map probably an 8 of 10, although I think I still would prefer to see Desert Hull put into the game, bug tested, and then fixed properly. Finally, we have Space Station. Now, this map is very curious. It reminds me a lot of Sector 25. I can see some relative parallels on each side of the map, which is cool. And then there's also going to be the anti-grav stuff, I hope, is what's getting put into the map. That would be very cool. And from the looks of the jumping stuff they have on it, where you jump between platforms, that looks like anti-grav to me. And I think that's very cool, but I'm wondering how they're going to handle the whole the space station is blown to bits, so there couldn't possibly be oxygen inside the space station. So, kind of wondering how they're going to handle that. But overall, it looks like a very cool, well thought out map. It looks like there's a lot of winding hallways and different layers, like 3-dimensionally. There's a lot of different heights you can go to, which is kind of cool. And it looks like you can also fall to your death if you're in the center, so jumping around is going to be a very hazardous thing, but it could also be a very neat, you know, function of the game and function of the map. So I think it's going to be very SMG heavy, maybe shotgun heavy too, because I can picture shotguns going very well with all the low grab and jumping around stuff. Makes the gun very similar to use and easy to use, especially if snipers are turned off. So if you have a sniper's off setting, very interesting for that. And also I can see that it would be a very good Elim Pro map style weapon, map I mean. And generally, I think it's going to turn out really well. What I would rate it, probably a 7 of 10 also. I can see some issues with it. I can see some peak spots that might be kind of annoying, especially if this isn't the final version of the map. I can imagine they might fix a few of those, but there's also going to be ones that they add in on accident. And if they put any more devices in there, like boxes and machines and stuff that get in the way that you can hide behind, that could also become a problem. But overall, I think it's an excellently developed map. I think it's a pretty good idea. Although I am kind of disappointed that we don't have an extremely flat map similar to Desert Hull, but I mean, really flat with just like paintball style setup. I think that would be really cool. Sort of like Junk Fleet, but even flatter than that. Kind of disappointed that we don't see one of those yet, but Desert Hull, I think if I had to pick one of the 3, Desert Hull would be my favorite. So I'm looking forward to seeing that put into the game possibly. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, and I will see you guys in the next episode. See you next time. Shadowlands out.